How's it going, everyone? My name is Maximilian, and you're watching episode 34 of Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3, The Online Warrior. Oh my god, run for the hills, the game is changing! So, a lot of you guys might already be aware, but this episode is going to focus on the Infinites and the current kind of crazy situation Ultimate Marvel 3 is in. So, first, let's give a quick update. A few days ago, there was a new Infinite discovered in the game Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3, something that could be fairly game-changing and affects the majority of the cast. Actually, I think during the recording of this video, nearly half of the cast has been discovered to have an infinite combo as a result of this glitch. So let's quickly get into what the glitch actually is, and then we'll start talking about how it's affecting the community and what's going to be happening fairly soon with EVO, amongst a bunch of other things, how Marvel is going to be affected as a result of this, because a lot of people are treating it like it's a DHC glitch, something that's going to change Marvel completely and make it either much more interesting or completely unplayable in a very short amount of time. So let's quickly talk about what it is. The TAC Infinite Bug Glitch is a result of Team Aerial combos and how they work in the system of Ultimate Marvel 3. When you get into a Team Aerial combo, for you guys that don't know, the character that you're juggling or the character that you're comboing is not subject to hit stun scaling as if you are normally in a combo on the ground or anywhere else. Now, what does hit stun scaling mean, you might ask? Well, when a combo becomes very long, or there becomes more hits in a combo over time, the potential to keep comboing becomes more difficult. Essentially, anything will knock them out of a combo eventually, and it becomes impossible to continue the combo, except for select moves that cause a great amount of hit stun that certain characters have, no matter how deep in the combo you are. Characters like Virgil have this, and characters like Dante have it as well. So what happens as a result of this is that when you're in a Team Aerial combo and it's avoiding that hit stun scaling, it means that you can continue the combo for as long as you want, as long as the character does not touch the ground or you don't touch the ground. If you touch the ground, it also resets the, it also goes back to normal hit stun scaling after the TAC or Team Aerial combo, and they pop out really fast because all the hits catch up to that one moment. So what you need to understand before I start explaining how the glitch works is that Team Aerial combos avoid hit stun scaling and prevent things like, which is there to prevent things like infinites from happening. However, in this game, for some reason, Team Aerial combos just never caused hit stun scaling, which is why you get awesome Marlin Pie, Doom TAC swag combos. So what happens with this glitch is, this glitch is designed for each of the characters with a certain amount of air mobility or the mobility to move around the screen a little bit to keep that going, to keep the TAC mechanic. You're able to keep juggling them no matter what, and it means that they can actually, you just keep juggling them like they're in TAC, but you're not. You're actually on the ground still recovering. Now, as confusing as this might sound, here's how it happens. When you have certain characters that are able to get around the screen with their air mobility, they come in with the TAC and you touch the character once. What they usually have to do is follow the character down to the bottom of the screen. While they're doing this, the issue is that if you touch the ground, once that happens, the TAC is over and hit stun scaling applies, hence making your combo useless because they're going to pop out. But there's this thing that happens when you touch the ground, and it kind of resets your normal move, and it treats it as if when you do a normal move and you touch the ground, the combo believes that you're still in the air, or the game believes that you're still in the air, allowing you to extend your combo. A lot of these happen with normal moves as soon as you hit the ground and you're still holding up, essentially canceling the animation of your normal move into a jump immediately, and the game doesn't register the fact that you're hitting the ground. It still thinks that you're still doing an aerial combo, allowing the TAC to continue. So you see this in a lot of characters, and you can see it very clearly in certain characters like Dante's and Sentinels. When this happens and you hit that normal move that hits your opponent as soon as you hit the ground, your character pauses for a sec. They get stuck in a very brief frame of animation, and you're able to jump and re-continue the combo, and the game doesn't see the fact that you actually hit the ground. This is actually fairly similar to some stuff that happened a long time ago in the Alpha series, and there was some combos with characters like Cody, and this was the exact same thing. The game didn't register that you hit the ground. At least that's how I understood that it worked. So it's kind of happening all over again, and instead this situation it's happening with a lot of characters. Now I've tried to do a little bit of investigation with characters like Strider and otherwise to see if there's anything that I can find, but it's pretty difficult to make this useful. It's not extremely easy to land, and there is an issue of chance that happens as a result of getting a TAC Infinite combo, because you have to go into the Team Aerial combo, which puts you into a very random situation. You need to hope that the other person does not predict which way you're going to TAC. So that's a big part of it, and not all characters can do the TAC Infinite from all directions. Some characters need to go in a downward motion in order to guarantee that they're going to go into the TAC Infinite. And from what you guys might have seen from a lot of the videos, you can easily Google this or check out shoryuken.com or Event Hubs or iPlayWinner to find out which characters currently have TAC Infinites, but it's, I think, over 20 characters now, and it's getting close to half of the cast. So what does this do to Marvel? A lot of the players that have been talking about this, and a lot of folks kind of are in a pretty big ruckus at the moment because they believe this is going to ruin Marvel, that everything is going to be about a TAC Infinite, or if you have a TAC Infinite. This was kind of the case with the original Marvel vs. Capcom 3, where the DHC glitch kind of ruled the game, and any characters that could take advantage of the DHC glitch were what you saw in tournaments, and there was very little way that you could possibly win otherwise. Granted, the DHC glitch existed in a sense that it allowed you to touch a character and kill them almost no matter what with the use of a couple of meters. But in Ultimate Marvel 3, that's not exactly gone. One-touch kills are frequent and not that far in between in a game like this. Usually in high-level tournaments, if you touch your opponent, there's a good chance they're dead if you have more than 1 meter. Especially with certain characters like Virgil and Spencer and Zero, if you get touched at all, there's a very high chance that you're not going to make it through the rest of that combo if the person using those characters knows what they're doing, because those characters can build meter easily during the combo, and they can execute you as a result of using a little bit of meter. So it's not like one-touch kills were something that ruined the original Marvel vs. Capcom, it's just that the DHC glitch made it a lot easier. In this game it still exists, and in this game the big issue that comes with the TAC Infinite is the fact that this applies. You can still do one-touch kills using any of these characters, but you don't use meter. That's something that is really bugging a lot of people, is that all you do is just gain meter. You're going to be at 5 levels most likely at the end of this, making Phoenix matchups extremely difficult, or characters that use Morrigan at the end that are very meter reliant. So that's the problem with TAC Infinites, is the fact that the other fact is that they take a lot of time. Depending on how much health the character has that you're fighting up against and how long the combo was beforehand, it can soak a good 15 to 20 Marvel seconds off of the clock doing a TAC Infinite combo. This is kind of reminiscent to issues of the past in Marvel vs. Capcom 2, like the dead body glitch. For you guys that don't know, you were able to somewhat infinitely juggle a dead body in Marvel vs. Capcom 2. The issue with this was that as soon as somebody got a KO on a single character in that game, it allowed you to juggle their body infinitely until the time ran out, allowing you to win. Now, this was a big issue because this was banned in tournaments and stuff like that, leading me to think that in the situation of we haven't seen this happen a lot in tournaments yet, we could possibly see a big change for tournament structures, and they might not allow the TAC glitch because it messes up the timer, and it takes a lot of time. This isn't an infinite juggle by any means, but it definitely will affect things and how the game is played in a tournament scene. So there's a lot of stuff to consider when you have something like this happen to the game, and it affects so many characters, and since it's now been discovered, so many characters in the cast has it applying to them. But it's not all that bad, and here's why I actually, as of right now, because I haven't seen it very much in tournament, I don't have that much of a problem with the TAC glitch. Because as for anybody that's actually gone in with the characters and tried things out, there's a couple of things that are working in favor of the TAC glitch Infinites not being banned and not being that much of a problem or as bad as something like the DHC glitch. The first thing I was mentioning was the fact that, yes, you have to make a random guess at the beginning of your TAC glitch, and some characters require you to go in a certain direction to actually make it work. So if you have done your research and you fought against these characters a lot, and you understand that a character like Sentinel, or whichever character I might take an example of, needs to go down in order for their TAC glitch infinite to continue, then you can predict that. You can predict that Sentinel is going to have to TAC down, and you could counter it immediately, preventing him from going into the infinite combo. The other thing is that with a lot of the characters in the cast, this glitch is not universal. The execution of the combos character by character is very different, and each of the characters in this game, when they perform a TAC Infinite, some characters are easier than others, and some can be extremely difficult. There are variations to the combos per characters, as we're seeing different versions of TAC Infinite showing up for characters like Iron Man. There was one that was really hard when we first saw it come out, but there's another one that's been simplified and made a bit easier. The challenge is, and like I was saying, for anybody that's actually tried these out, if you attempt to perform, just in training mode, one of these infinite glitches, you're going to find that they're not exactly easy to do. The reason being is that when you cancel your falling animation from that normal move, whether it's like a heavy attack or whatever, and you cancel it from that pausing frame and you jump back up to allow you, or to make the game think that you're still jumping, it's not difficult. It's not difficult. It's very difficult to time that. Now, a lot of the characters, like I was saying, have a different ease of usability. A lot of folks have been saying that Sentinels or Frank West have fairly easy ones, but I was doing one that was fairly simple with Dante, and I was able to get up to around 3 or 4 reps of doing the combo before it would eventually drop out, because the timing is very sensitive. I think this is the equivalent of doing something like a 1 or 2 frame link in a game like Street Fighter 4 without plinking. Now, for you guys that don't know, plinking is something in Street Fighter 4 that allows you to make the ease of combo ability a lot easier, and it gives you twice the amount of chances in order to hit that combo string and to continue your combo. But if you actually do not plink moves in Street Fighter 4 and try to combo something normally, it's really difficult, man. It's not an easy thing to do, and that's kind of what's happening with all these characters here. A lot of the times the rhythm and flow of these combos kind of go into each other naturally, and it makes it seem a bit easier for those characters like Sentinel and Frank West. But some guys, it's very difficult. It's not easy to do. Granted, I was training and trying some of these in a 2-bar setting. Essentially, online conditions is what I'd like to call them. I don't think a lot of you guys are going to run into many of these combos online. Maybe some characters will be able to use them somewhat proficiently, but nonetheless, the actual execution of the combo itself and getting the repetition of each one of those loops down to the frame in an online setting is going to be very difficult, and I'd actually give mad props to a person that's able to do that consistently. That's not easy to do, and that is some high-level stuff. But when it comes to offline play, it's still fairly difficult. I mean, a lot of the time, if you have the choice between going into a TAC Infinite, or essentially just finishing the combo and trying to kill the character with the use of meter, I think many folks are going to try to do that. Granted, you're going to have some situations where you don't have much of an option and you have to go into a TAC Infinite, but nonetheless, it's another way to play the game. It offers another option that can lead to something big, albeit extremely risky. So that's another thing that comes with an Infinite like this, is that it's extremely high risk, but it's high reward. But it requires very much heavy execution, and that's one thing about Marvel, is that unless you play certain characters that do extremely extravagant things, like C. Viper or Dr. Doom's insane, swag TAC combos, a lot of the execution levels or the execution requirements in a game like Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3 are not extremely high for the majority of the cast. In fact, the majority of people that play the higher tier characters, that's what makes them so high tier, is the fact that their combo strings are easy to perform, they're easy to pull off, and the opponents usually don't drop out of them very often because they have a lot of hit stun damage behind them. Now you throw something like this loop into the mix where these characters have these TAC infinites, and it becomes a whole other story. So now we have characters that you have to make the choice. Are you going to start going for this TAC infinite stuff, or are you going to stick to what already is working and what has worked in the past and which characters are already extremely good? So it's a very interesting piece of technology, and I'm glad we had the chance to make a video about this before EVO, because with EVO coming up, that's another big thing that's been questioned a lot, and the tournament organizers, Mr. Wizard and the Cannons who run Evolution 2012 in the EVO series, have already gone on record saying that they're going to allow the TAC Infinites in competition. There's a very specific rule set when it comes to the big tournament of EVO, and it's that as long as the Infinite or the glitch is not game-breaking, that means as long as the glitch does not freeze the game or prevent the other player from doing something or acting out, that means that they allow it. They're going to allow the glitch to happen and they're going to allow it to play through. So here's another perspective to take, is that a game like Marvel vs. Capcom 2 had several infinites. It had quite a few. Characters like Iron Man, with select assists that would pop you up into a certain regular jumping state, would be an extremely easy infinite. Iron Man had one of the most easy infinites in Marvel vs. Capcom 2. However, getting to it is a bit challenging because you were dealing with, you know, a character like Iron Man going up against Storm or Magneto isn't always the easiest of challenges. But characters like Magneto had them. They were somewhat high execution required infinites. They exist with many characters, and to be honest, infinites are kind of a thing that comes with the Versus series. All of the characters in pretty much any of the Versus series before the Marvel vs. Capcom 3 series have had infinites. Talking X-Men vs. Street Fighter, Marvel vs. Capcom, Children of the Atom, Marvel Superheroes, going all the way back. Infinites are kind of a thing that has always been in these games, but they've always been somewhat high execution requirements, except for some characters that have really easy infinites like Gambit in Marvel vs. Capcom 1 or, you know, Iron Man in Marvel vs. Capcom 2. So there is that execution level, and the big thing that we're going to see is that in EVO this year, if somebody pulls off an infinite combo, how hype and how exciting is it going to be? And that's the challenge, is that are infinites going to be hype, and are they going to be exciting, or are they going to be a total bummer if you see everybody doing it? And that's the challenge, is that people got burned out from the DHC glitch because you saw the same thing over and over and over and over and over again, and a lot of people got upset by it and figured that it was breaking the game because it was what you saw all the time. But if that's the case with this infinite, then I'd imagine it'll be a turn for the worse. But in the current situation we're at right now, I don't predict them being that big of a problem because of that high risk, high reward type of scenario. So, an interesting state that Ultimate Marvel 3 is in. I'm just really happy that we're still discovering things in the engine of this game. And to find, it's essentially a testament to how early on we are in something like a game like Ultimate Marvel 3, where the game's been out for just over 6 months now, 6-7 months, and we're getting into the first EVO with Ultimate. Like, you have to realize that we haven't seen Ultimate Marvel 3 in an Evolution tournament yet. Just some high-name, very big major tournaments, so it's going to be very interesting, man. I'm really looking forward to EVO, and I'm looking forward to see what Capcom does as a result of after EVO, because Ryota Nitsuma went on record saying some very interesting pieces of information about the potential of the future for Ultimate Marvel 3, but we're going to tackle that in the next episode. But until then, thank you guys very much for watching the video. Please leave me your feedback of what you think about these infinite combos. Do you think they should be removed from the game completely? Do you think that Capcom should go in and try to fix these things? Or do you think that we should let the game kind of like ride out a little bit and see how it goes and if it really affects the overall metagame of Ultimate Marvel 3? But yeah, thank you all very much for watching. This has been Maximilian, and I'll see you next time.